Hi, this is 365801 and this is part 2 in my 1330 manga challenge for April. So this is the next book that I read. This was in my drawer. I actually have read Heartstopper before, almost exactly 2 years ago when we had our first lockdown. Amazon were doing a sale on Heartstopper, the digital version, for 99p, and I thought I'll give it a go because everyone has always been going on about this and it looks really good and cute and I know it's male romance, so I'll give it a go. And I read the first volume digitally and loved it so much that I had to buy the second and third versions digitally as well. I really needed to read the rest of it. So last year, 2021, was like most anticipated, probably volume 4, and I still haven't bought it. I still have not bought it. Everyone is very excited about the Netflix drama, which I think is the 22nd of April. So by the time this video goes up, it will have already been released. Have you watched it? Did you like it? Was it good? So I thought I would give this one a go because I haven't actually read this. It's in my drawer. I purchased it. It's a physical volume, but I hadn't actually read the physical volume. And I wanted to collect them all, and that's why I haven't got my 4th volume yet, because I didn't want to buy the digital copy because it's almost the same price as the physical one. And I just haven't got around to buying the physical one, so I'm going to have to buy the physical one. Like, I have to, because I have now read this volume, and because I loved it so much, I was like, well, you have volume 2 and 3 digitally, you can just read them too. So I read them as well. So they're like rereads. This one technically is the first time I've read it. So I love Heartstopper. I don't really think I need to say very much about it, other than it's a really cute, lovely story. And it's very interesting artwork. It's very expressive and almost painterly. There's like a sort of brushstroke type quality to the lines. You can read this. Is it on Webtoon? I don't know which service it is, but I haven't followed it that way. And of course, Alice Oseman has been doing YA novels as well, which I had a little like read of the first couple of chapters of Solitaire on my library app. So I think I'm gonna have to see if I can get that out as well at some point. I'd like to read all of her work. This was delightful. It was a reread in a sense. So I already knew the story, and I'm desperate for volume 4 now. I need to get them, and I really want to have all of them in physical. What a lovely start to this video. Okay, so I have gone through some more books after Heartstopper, which was lovely. I now have this. This is Flutter. It's by Momoko Tenzen. This is a June manga title. Now, technically, this is in my, like, it's on my TBR shelf because I purchased it a few years ago. I read it once and I put it back on my shelf, and I was like, I'd like to read that again at some point. And I'd kind of, there's no kind of about it, I'd completely forgotten what the story was about. And so I felt like it was okay for me to read it this time. I know I'm supposed to be reading the things I haven't read before, but this is something that I was like, I'm just drawn to this, and it's kind of on my TBR shelf. So yes, it's about Asada and Mizuki. So this is Asada, and this is Mizuki. Asada has seen Mizuki arrive at work, at his workplace, and is, I think the best word to say is entranced. He finds him beautiful and mysterious and is in some way sort of bewitched by him and his beauty and the air around him, and knows that he works at the same place but doesn't know anything about him, doesn't know his name, doesn't know what he does, anything like that. And then of course he very quickly gets introduced to him as kind of like his supervisor in the next project. So he's going to be working under Mizuki for this project. And he gets to know a little bit more about him and some of the backstory and something to do with this guy who I think was called Yoshino, who is in Mizuki's like past. And it's a very sort of quiet little story. Not terribly much happens. It's just the development of these two individuals who work in the same place and their friendship and their interactions. So Asuda finds him crying one evening and, you know, is drawn to him again. They become friends. He finds out he's gay. It seems like the workplace just knows he's gay, which I was like, well, in Japan, that's great. This is why we have fiction, folks. That's not 100% true. That's not 100% true. I have to remember what it was like in my workplace, which was pretty okay-ish. So yeah, it's just the development of their relationship from strangers to more, and it's kind of quiet and sweet and lovely. And I remember the first time I read it, I really enjoyed it. And this time it was just like, that was okay. Like, it was sweet, it was nice. And it's Momoko Tenzin's artwork, so you know like what to expect. I do think Mizuki's hair is very pretty. I did like his hair. So yeah, it was good. It was good. I liked it. The other one that I read is also kind of a reread. I know I shouldn't be doing this, but it's called Return of the Prince. This is by Junko, also a June manga title. And I've just realised there's no June symbol on the front of this either. When did they start doing that? Have I just noticed this? Because this is a couple of years old. Yeah, anyway. So I got this a few years ago when shipping fees weren't too bad. Now they're extortionate. There's no way I can get anything shipped from the US. It's just not going to happen. So I can't buy anything from the June Manga website because the shipping cost is just astronomical. But before I could. And I purchased Return of the Prince. Junko obviously is probably most well known now for her Kiss Him Not Me series. But obviously she produced so much BL before that, and we got this sort of collection. There's I think 3 stories in this. It's got that's a lovely cover, lovely interior artwork, and that's one of the main stories. So in here we have Return of the Prince, Metamorphosis, Beside Him, and A King's Tale. So these are the 3 stories, and it's really nice. It's beautiful. It's got Junko's artwork, as you'd expect, some emotional moments. Oh, I forgot to say, Flutter, the reason I was wanting to read this again is Jocelyn Allen translated it. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to read this. Obviously, Jocelyn Allen, of course. I do like seeing who... Camry, I don't know who this person is. But yeah, this was printed in 2017. So since then, it's like, no. Anyway, this is what I wanted to show you, because this is the postscript, which I love. I always try and read the postscripts of everything because you get so much of an insight into the mangaka and their lives. I love the postscripts. Anyway, so these are the different stories. Beside Him was kind of like the story of these 3 high school boys, and was using the sort of theme of you don't know what you've got until it's gone, and so it was about like friendship and, you know, who likes who, and who has a girlfriend and who found that out, and who realised their feelings and things like that. So this was an interesting little story of 3 friends, and it was quite tense. It was filled with tension. Then we've got this other one here, Metamorphosis, which is also kind of about people realising their feelings. These 2 have been friends forever, and then this is his senpai in like a gardening club, and he starts to be jealous of their relationship. So yeah, in a sense, it's like you're realizing feelings. This is the theme. This one is Return of the Prince, so this is what this one's all about. And it's about an overworked salaryman who's really feeling like he's lost his sparkle, his what made him special. And this is the younger cousin who, this is the thing that I don't really like about Junko, is her kind of fat phobia. Your fat phobia is showing, Junko, which you all know if you've read Kiss Him Not Me. It's there and used for comedic effect, and it's here used for comedic effect. And you know, I don't really think that's great. I don't particularly like it. So yeah, this is the panel that I was like, was that necessary? Was that necessary? No. And so there's a slight element to some of Junko's work. You're like, Anyway, so he's the younger cousin. He used to be overweight, and he always looked up to his older cousin, who he thought of as a hero. So he's been like obsessive about him for years, and then he lost lots of weight and tried to become the prince version, because he wanted to be like his cousin, who he always looked up to as a prince or a hero. And he's kind of obsessive and a little bit scary. I would not think so. This wasn't the best. Anyway, he ends up just being like okay because he makes him feel good. And in a sense, what more do you really need to go with? Like deep feelings? He thinks he should have deep feelings, but also he's kind of like, this is the only thing in my life that's making me feel good about living. And I'm like, okay, dude, hang on to that. But I do like the artwork. Like this is a really nice image. It does remind me a little bit of like Psychedelico. Some of her artwork was a little bit like that for her Psychedelics series. But yeah, it was cute, sweet in some respects. There was lots of emotional moments. A lot of crying in that story. But yeah, it was a good one to reread, because as I said with Flutter, I have only read these once, and they were years ago when I purchased them. And I think, when was this one published? 2012. So yeah, Jocelyn Allen. I was like, oh great, I'll read that. So yeah, these were the two that I read. And then I've just finished Canis, Dear Mr. Rain. This is by Zach and published by Kuma. I purchased this on eBay, and I think I actually got it from Rebecca. It is kind of an interesting one. Like, I was reading it kind of going, is this actually manga or is this graphic novel? Because yes, it has manga elements, but it has a sort of graphic novel feel about the dialogue and about the art style. And then I saw at the back that it's published in opera. And I was like, naruhodo, naruhodo ne. Opera is where you can find works like Classmates by Asumiko Nakamura, or Go For It Nakamura-kun. So that's kind of the style. Opera is kind of like, it kind of straddles the two kind of elements of art and literature. So the literature that they produce is very artistic, and not necessarily like in a painterly way, but in a more, sometimes in a graphic design way, or in a it's about producing art for art's sake as well as for storytelling. It's like the two things combined. It's like they didn't say we just want manga that's churned out and mass produced. We want things that are unique and have a unique perspective. And I think that's what Canis is a little bit like, because the art style, like you can see that it's not necessarily 100% manga in its depiction of the characters at all times. Sometimes it feels almost graphic novel-y in a sort of modern way, where you're looking at, I mean, is that manga style? I don't know. What do you guys think? So yeah, anyway, it's about a hat maker and a young man who has kind of been caught up in mafia dealings. And I'm not really a huge fan of the whole mafia yakuza trope, but this is a beautiful book, very nice. And the hat maker just wants to look after him in a way. Once again, oh, got a message. We are seeing the trope of reminds me of my dog. Why, Japan? Why? I don't understand, but in BL there's an awful lot. I don't know if it happens in shoujo. Does it happen in shoujo? Because it happens in BL a lot. Like, oh, he reminds me of my childhood dog. Anyway, this was nice, it was good, and there will be Dear Mr. Hatter, I think. 2 volumes. Which I think I saw online being advertised. I think Kuma are going to be publishing it. Let me know down below if you know. So yeah, this was good, and on to the next one. So this is something else that I read in April. It's technically a 3-volume series, but it's just one big omnibus. There will be probably a link up to the vlog that I did whilst reading it. It wasn't terrible, wasn't great, but it certainly wasn't as bad as some other older series that I've read. So I'm quite happy that I was able to read this as part of my buddy read with Katie. I did read the separate first volume, 1 volume, and then I read volume 2 and 3 in this omnibus because it broke it up, which made it easier. So yeah, we followed these 2 lovely lads, Kojima and Nakahara, and their final year in high school and their burgeoning friendship that slowly develops into something, slowly for some, develops into something more, and Nakahara's difficult home life. And so it was quite a nice wee story. So yeah, that's that one done. I want to read some of my older titles to see, like this is an older title, but this is the omnibus version, so it's a little bit newer. This is one of my oldest titles. I'm not sure if I even know when this was published. It looks quite nice. Like, and it's in such good nick. It's in such good condition. But here you can see some of the older. Pet on Duty, English adaptation, and when it was published, 2007, or 2006 in Japan, and you can see some of their other ones. Here, I really like doing this. So this is the Boysenberry and Broccoli books. So Delivery Cupid, Aquarian Age, Kamui, Ease, some more Juvenile Orion, and then here, coming soon, Sex Friend, which I don't think was ever actually published, which is why it was on my list of like, I think this is available, but I don't think I've ever seen this. So if anyone has ever seen this out in the wilds, we need to know, but I actually don't think. And I think Yaoi Canon did a list and they also like confirmed that they don't think that it exists. So so this is going to be the next one I read. It's Yamato Naze, Pet on Duty, and I'm really happy that this has, you know, been kept so well. When I got it, it's in such good condition. It's like practically brand new. So whoever, like the spine as well, like no one's ever cracked the spine. I'm not sure if anyone's ever read this, but the sticker is an actual sticker. You know, like they hardly ever do that anymore. But it's an actual sticker. I'm not going to take it off though. I don't want to ruin the front. But yeah, that's going to be my next read. I'll let you know. I need to read some more of my older titles. I need to get through some of my standalone one-shot types. And Pet on Duty is a good way to go. So I just finished Pet on Duty, which was kind of exactly what I would expect. I wasn't sure if I'd actually read it or not. But I think I definitely have. It's like one that I probably read at some point. It's Yamato Naze, so it's exactly what you would expect. All of her works seem to be like the same. It's very similar. This particular story was following Mizuki, who is kind of down on his luck. He's a pretty young guy who has chosen not to go to university and instead wanted to go into the workforce due to his personal reasons and his personal circumstance, but has found that his company that he worked for and the dorms that he was living in meant that he was now unemployed and homeless. So he goes to find his brother, and it turns out that his brother lives in a dormitory with a whole cast of characters who all seem funny and also very silly. And they decide to adopt him, because he's a wee cutie pie, as their cat. Yes, he is a person. He is a person, there he is. And he stays there, cleans, looks after the place, and is a refreshing presence for all of the salarymen who live in the dorms, who all seem like children, really. And it's funny because right at the end, we do get Yamato Naze talking about what she thinks of the people, the characters that she's made, and what kind of characters they are. Amusing friends, she calls them, but also that they're boy-like businessmen, immature boy-like businessmen, and that's kind of what they are. It was silly, it was funny, it was sweet. He of course falls in love with one of the guys who lives there, and he gets into all kinds of nonsense. He's constantly getting into trouble. What was interesting though was this thing at the back. So it's got like a little thing about Sex Friend that was supposed to be coming out winter 2007, and it had like a little extra available in November, but I don't think ever actually was released. So once again, I'm saying, if anyone actually ever saw this, let me know. So yeah, that was okay. Wasn't great. Pretty standard Yamato Naze fare. Her works are all pretty much the same. Very much like eating candy floss, kind of sometimes overly sweet with very little substance. They seem like there's a lot of fluff and air, and then you kind of feel a little bit sick afterwards. That's kind of the feeling. Pet on Duty is like candy floss, and I'm not such a huge fan of candy floss. You can consume it really quickly, or you can take a bite and go, not for me. So take that for what you will, I guess. I'm not sure I would recommend Pet on Duty. And a silly little manga, but fun to have a boysenberry anyway. Okay, so today's one was Kaim Tachibana's Boys Love. This is published by Doki Doki, so it is out of print. I was super excited to get this. Very much like a difficult one to get hold of. One that I was really like, yay, it's in my collection now, and I didn't ever read it, and now that I've read it, it is absolute garbage. The story inside, like, it is the getting and not necessarily the having. The more like, I'm like, I want to have them in the collection, like I want to have the complete set. It's always good to have the complete set, but the actual stories inside are trash. This is trash. Oh dear. So I checked. It's 2009. It was published in English. It's from 2007. I have to say, like 2006 and 2007, we were getting like peak anime with some great anime storytelling and some great manga. This is not it. This is not it. So the story follows Noeru, who is a teenage high school model who also happens to have a very good career in art. In fact, he would consider art his career, and the modelling is just a side hobby. And this man, Mamiya, he is a fairly like young writer, editor in a magazine, and he gets his first big job, which is to interview Noeru as celebrities who do art on the side, which doesn't really go down with Noeru. Noeru is absolutely messed up in the head. He's a bit of a man whore. He throws himself at anyone and anything, as long as they're male, and drinks and all kinds of nonsense. He's basically off the rails. I know it seems a bit odd, but I'm like, where's his guardian? You do find out later on. He's messed up in the head for reasons. He does have a friend, Chidori, as well, who he knows at the school, and Chidori takes very good care of him. Stalker. And the two of them have a not great relationship that eventually turns into an okay relationship. But this is pants. The whole story is pants. Like, the art style is not too bad. It's very passable for that time period. That's about the only good thing I can say about it. This is pants, i.e. it's rubbish, but it's also banana pants crazy. Makes no sense. I mean, it was pretty bad, and then Noeru got sexually assaulted. Like, literally raped and beaten up. And the only consequence was his boss telling him that he was stupid because he got his face damaged and he shouldn't have done that as a model. And I was like, you lost me there. I was like, God, this is dull, this is boring, I'm not enjoying this. I wasn't really feeling it. It's a fast read, but it's not an enjoyable read. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And then that happened, and I was like, okay, you lost me. And then it jumped the shark. Completely. There's the ghost of, not an actual ghost, but like the metaphorical ghost of a character called Ken-chan from Noeru's childhood. And the whole way through, I was like, okay, so either A, Ken-chan is dead, or B, Mamiya's actually Ken-chan, and he's like had some sort of like drowning incident and lost his memory or something like that. And I would not be surprised if that was the way that this manga was going, because it was that nuts. Boys Love. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but the ending is absolute trash garbage shite. It is not it. I am not here for this. 100% do not recommend. Awful. Terrible. Would I say it's a waste of time? No, because now I've ticked it off the list of things that in my own collection that I needed to read. Am I happy that I wasted my time doing it? No. I'm not happy. That was a terrible, terrible, terrible manga. So don't recommend this one. But if you do want an actual physical copy, do not spend a lot of money. I'm at least happy that I didn't spend a huge amount. I'm glad that it's in my collection, but we'll probably never ever read this again. It's trash. So hello, it's been a couple of days. I have a cup of tea, and you can see here a little vegan egg, chocolate egg. Really need my tea. It's a bit grey and overcast today, but we've got some manga to talk about that I read for my 1330. As you can see, this is Hisensei by Yaya Sakuragi. This is a June manga title from, I think, 2009. It's not in the best condition. April 2009. It's not in the most fantastic condition, but it's still, like, pretty good. This follows a student-teacher relationship, which I was a bit like, ooh, because I'm not really a huge fan of age gap romances, and teacher-students are always a little bit like, because I've obviously worked as a teacher and been around students, and I did work with a teacher who married his student, and so it was a bit like the other teacher in this story the PE teacher who was dating a girl. And she was like, dude, I don't want to marry you. But this was actually quite a sweet story. I didn't mind this one at all. Sometimes they can be a little bit... but this one was kind of cute and sweet. There he is. He was like, oh, I'm seeing a female student. And yeah, so one of my co-workers married their student, and then he was, I think, very unhappily married for the rest of his life. Probably still unhappily married now. There you go. Anyway, these two were actually quite sweet together, and it wasn't too bad. I think there was only one moment when he kind of tried it on with him in the classroom, and he was like, oh, well, you've turned me on now. There was the one moment when he was like, what are you going to do about this then? And I think it was because this wasn't necessarily supposed to be a full series. I think it was like one of those, let's make a one-shot. I think that's what she said at the back. I love reading their little notes afterwards. So yeah, Yaya Sakuragi was saying that she didn't necessarily expect this to carry on because the theme was younger semi, and so she went with this. And she said that if she'd known it was going to carry on for longer than the first chapter, she would have made him a science teacher instead of a math teacher, because she couldn't remember any maths from high school, which I thought was really funny. And just little things like this little 3-panel story about how she has her bed on the ground, but she has a little side table, and so every morning she clunks her nut on it. And I just thought, yep, hashtag relatable. Anyway, I really liked this. It was a cute little story. There wasn't too much of an issue other than that first little moment. And I think that was due to the fact that there needed to be some sort of sexual element, because she did think she was writing a one-shot, and therefore it would be necessary to get to that point within a one-shot. But then ended up having it as a continuation because, you know, her artwork is one that people really respond to. She has a good way of telling stories and creating interesting characters. So she's got the math teacher who used to go out with a lady but knew that perhaps he was not heterosexual and could not perform sexually with a woman. And it just happened that woman had a younger brother, and he ends up teaching the brother when he's older. So the brother had always had feelings for him. And I thought that was dead cute and sweet how they developed as a couple. And then there was another one which was called Unbreakable Bones. And it was about a former delinquent and the younger childhood friend who was now a policeman, and their relationship. And that was a cute, it was kind of sad actually. It was kind of about trauma and about neglect and about seeing beyond and seeing more in someone and seeing people for who they are. And it was kind of a sad thing, but it was dead nice as well. So yeah. Am I happy that I finally got Hisensei? Absolutely. This is the kind that I'm like, this doesn't have to be perfect. This doesn't have to be like groundbreaking. It doesn't have to be, I could maybe forgive it for any of its old agey flaws, because it's Yaya Sakuragi, because it's Hisensei, and because it's one that I have been desperate to have in my collection for such a long time. I still have one more Yaya Sakuragi to get. Stay close to me. And then I'll have them all, which is good. So fingers crossed I get that at some point. Now the other thing that I picked up in that video was Thigh High. And what a strange little thing this is. This is by Kotobuki. And I loved this. But I don't really think I understood or understand even now what the point was. What it's all about. Am I going to buy the rest of it? Yeah, damn Skippy, I'm going to buy the rest of it. I mean, look at that. Look at all these boys in swimsuits. Love it. Love it. I think that's kind of it. It's like, look at that gorgeousness. So we follow the class sort of president, Kiritani. They call him Kire because it means to like slap or snap at something. Kire, and he's always shouting about stuff. And Harumi, his friend, who he kind of wants to be like, and he also likes. The two of them get on quite well. Harumi seems to be one that everyone loves. So I'm not sure, is this, look at the beefy guys in lingerie. I mean, someone's preferences are showing. I think it's mine. I love this. I honestly love this. This was so silly and so ridiculous. And it's just like one-shot little stories. Like, this teacher here is the most male-looking teacher. Male-looking, you know, facade. Which is funny because obviously they're supposed to be presenting... They're supposed to be presenting in a female gender way, i.e. with the costume or with the clothes or with the attitude, with the ideas. It's supposed to be feminine, and yet there's this shaggy teacher, and I thought, that was me. That's me. I'm the shaggy teacher. and honestly, if I got what they got, the black Adidas with the stripes, and but it's a wee skirt, they're really pretty, and I'm just like, yes you do, you precious teacher, I love you. Also because when I was a teenager I got money for Christmas one year and we were allowed to buy something, and I went into the sports shop and bought a black Adidas tracksuit with the white stripes, and it was like, so cool. It was like the thing that I wore throughout my whole teenage years. I was like, I bought this with my own money. Yeah. I was so proud of myself that I bought something that transcended all of the other brand names. I could always wear it and always be cool and always have something, you know, comfortable to wear and still look shabby. But so yeah, I'm not sure, is this like, it's like two ways you can think about it. It's like, it's a boys' school, but with feminine clothing and feminine aspects added in. Or, this is a girls' school. It just so happens that the gender, the sex of the individuals are not female. And so you get a masculine physique. So that, I mean, or you could just see this as what I think of it as, guys looking hot in clothing, whatever clothing it is. I just loved it. I thought it was so silly, so like nonsensical, and yet I loved all the characters. I connected with them. I love their little stories. The little achus at the end. Little achus. The little cute achus. Am I shipping them? Yeah, I'm shipping them. Of course I'm shipping them. I'm shipping them all with each other. Love it. So yeah, this is volume 1, and I know there's at least 3 volumes. There might be 4. So I'll have to look out for the rest of the series. This was kind of a surprise release by 7 Seas, and I'm not sure if it was a huge hit or not, but I really enjoyed this. This was really good, and I'm glad. I do like getting new stuff, and I read the stuff straight away, and I do enjoy it. It's crazy. It reminded me a little bit of High School Life of a Fidanchi, just because it's episodic. You get to know cast of characters set in a high school, so it has a lot of the same similar elements. So if you liked High School Life of a Fidanchi, and you like lots of guys in cute underwear, then this is maybe the one for you. I really feel like the class president is like the tomboy of the class, because he just doesn't get the feminine aspects. So yeah, it's interesting. So that was good. The next thing I read, I just finished it actually, was The Greatest Villain by Sujin Kim. Sujin Kim, I think, has done... Did they do... What did they do? I know they've done other things that I got. Did they do, what's it called? Totally Captivated? I don't know, maybe it was Sujin Kim, maybe it was someone else. Anyway, the art style is very Korean, if you know what I mean. Like, there's a style of art that just screams Korean to me. So not Korean webtoon, even though this was obviously, it's a net comics work, so I'm assuming it was available digitally, and it does have that digital sheen to it that the older works, like ones that were like Devil's Bride that I've got in the cupboard, well, the drawer, and it definitely has that new, fresh, yet at the same time traditional drawing style of Korean art in storytelling. And this is an interesting one. Like, it's a weird one, not gonna lie. Was a little bit like, what's going on? Anyway, The Greatest Villain follows the blonde-haired boy. He's at university and he has taken on the task of becoming the greatest villain. He wants to be the best villain. And he learned the first 2 rules of being the greatest villain by his friend. I should give them names, shouldn't I? Sawu and Kido. So Sawu's kind of like known as the angel because of the way that the Korean language works, and Kido is like the devil. And Sawu's just so impressed with Kido, and in kindergarten, that he's like, I think you're fantastic. Basically, it was love. It was love at first. Wow, he's a bad boy. He's evil. It was super cute. So the artwork is nice. Sawu is just a wee cutie pie. He's always trying to do the best. And as soon as he sees this grin from Kido, who gets all of the cupcakes or cookies or whatever, he's like, oh my god, you're fantastic. And that's him. He's like, let's be friends. But really, he fell in love. He fell in love with him at this age. It's like, yeah, this is my person. Because he's a bad boy. And he was obviously attracted to bad boys. And that's kind of the whole point. So there's a whole thing that something happened in junior high school that we don't know about. Sawu seems to have forgotten. His brothers and sister are just the cutest. They're so cute. Look at these, look at these, look at these wee cutie pies. It's supposed to be a comedy. I'm not entirely sure how much of it was supposed to be an actual comedy, like how much of it was funny. It's chunky, it's quite thick, there was a lot going on, and yet nothing really happened. I can't say that it was structured very well. Like, that's what I kind of got a bit distracted in the middle of it and was like, you know what I really like in a story? When there's planning and plotting and structure. Which goes to show that it doesn't feel like there is any in this particular work. It gets there in the end. Like, it gets there in the end, and you're happy when it does. And it's kind of a, oh, okay then, kind of an end. Like, alright, that's fine. And the authors definitely talk about how they were just like, well, I don't know what I'm doing with this. Which I thought that's refreshing. It's refreshing. So yeah, it's supposed to be a comedy. It was okay. There was definitely some plot. They definitely had thought of something, but I think this could have been tighter. I think this could have been more streamlined. I don't know. It just felt like it was lacking something to make it manga, but then it's not manga. It's a different format because it's web as well. Webtoons. So yeah. But it's chunky boy. It's a chunky boy, so it did take me a while to read it. So yeah, I'm up to... Oh, I got a message. I don't know what I'm up to now. Anyway, I'll show you what I'm thinking about reading for the rest of the month. I don't have that many days left. How many days have I got left? How many have I actually read? I'm supposed to do 30. I don't actually know how many I've read at this point. Anyway, contenders. I've got Fence, volumes 1, 2 and 3. Now I know it's 1330 manga, but I have already read a few graphic novels and I've been enjoying them. They're part of my 12 and 12, by the way. So I was recommended them, and Fence is one. So I've got 3 volumes. I know there's a 4th volume. It really isn't focusing. It's like focused here. 4 volumes, and the 5th one is coming out soon, I think. Oh, another message. So this looks like it might be the top contender for my next read, which might be enough. That might take me to 30. Oh dear, my phone is blowing up. Anyway, I've got Olympus by Aki, which I do want to read because I read the other Aki work that I purchased last year, and I really, really love Aki's work. So beautiful. Ah, loss. Who is messaging me? So yeah, Aki's work is beautiful. Oh my god. Honestly. Rude at this point. Rude. So yeah, I think Aki might be another one. But then I also have a couple of Akira Honma works that might be worth reading. And then I also have I Want to Be Naughty by Mei Sakuragi. This is Kitty Media. These were Drama Queens. So yeah, it's like trying to go through what I've got. So these are my... So I'll see, but top contenders are Olympus and Fence. Wow, my focus is terrible. Hopefully there we go. Hopefully it's not been so bad. So yeah, I think I might be reading this next. That might be the one I go for. We'll see. So hello, this is, I think we're coming to the end of my 1330 because I think I've read 30 now, so I think I could probably just stop. We'll see if anything else comes in the post, but if not, this might be the end of the video, because I've read loads. This is actually this is like 2 volumes in an omnibus version, so even though it's like 1, it's actually 2 volumes. It did take me a little bit longer. It's such an interesting one. Let's have a wee chat about it, because look how gorgeous this art is. I mean, my copy's quite beat up, but I love how it's got like this sort of pearlescence? I don't know. Beautiful artwork, but it's also quite nice sheen to it. Aki's work is just stunning. I mean, she does such good artwork. Sorry if you can hear banging once again. This is no longer the roof banging. This is now someone getting their shed built next door. It's the season for it. But look how beautiful her artwork is. She just does such beautiful, beautiful work that, you know, that's why she gets paid to do illustrations for other people's novels. Look at this guy. Hello. I probably will not be the first person to say this, but Hades can get it. He can get it. Look at those horns. Horny and Hades. It's just something together, right? So beautiful. So we've got these 2 characters as well. This is Ganymede and Apollo. Just so lovely. Apollo is a mischievous little thing. They're twinks. These 2, they're twinks. They're twinks together. So beautiful. So gorgeous. But yeah, Aki, once again, pulling out all the stops for the most beautiful, gorgeous artwork. Ugh. I bet she could, you know, I just thought, I bet she could do really beautiful illustrations for example, like Heaven Official's Blessing. Like, I bet she could do an amazing Julienne. Oh, would we just not love to see that? Ooh, some artists are just like, yeah, I want to see you do. Because, I mean, gorgeous. Oh, I bet she'd do so amazing. And there's some colour inserts in the middle as well, because that's the end of the first volume, and this is the second volume. Look at Apollo! Look at Apollo. Who knows? Apollo knows that he's gorgeous. And look at Hades being all sinister and gorgeous, gorgeous. Artemis and Apollo. So Aki said that she did lots of research before she wrote the story, and then promptly was like, well, we're just gonna ignore a lot of that. But it's just so stunningly beautiful. This is an odd one. I do remember reading it a long time ago, but I wanted an actual physical copy, so I'm really happy to finally have this. I do need to invest in some more of Aki's print published stuff. The White Cat's Revenge, I would like to have that. I think there's only 3 volumes, so I'd like to get those 3. I don't know if there's any more. But Aki's work is just so beautiful. Oh, so gorgeous. So beautiful. And this particular volume, the basic story is Ganymede is stolen away by Apollo on behalf of Zeus, and taken to a miniature garden to be immortal and to be like a living flower, a thing of beauty, and is surrounded by beauty, but is on their own. You know, Ganymede is there as the most beautiful prince in Troy, and therefore worthy of being a sort of living pet, something to look at. And he is kind of trapped in this nowhere space with starry skies and white petaled flowers and ruins of an ancient time, and no escape. So kind of imprisoned in a never-ending hour. It's just immortality and eternity and the absolute hopelessness of that. And that's why, like, that's the basic premise of this book. But what it kind of reads as, it's like reading a philosophy text. Like, I know all of the words, and I can read all of the words, and I understand the meaning of all of the words individually. But when presented in the order that they're presented in, I don't always understand the meaning, even if it's the most simplest words. Presented in a simple way, the underlying intention and meaning is so abstract and obscure and so large in scope that it becomes almost too great to comprehend. It's like reading philosophy text, and that's what this book is a bit like. So I don't expect, people to read this and be like, oh wow, that was a great story. I expect people to probably read this and go, huh, that made me think. Or wow, what was the point of that? And Aki herself says that. She does. I love how she says that this is Apollo, this is what he looked like in the beginning when she was planning him. Plain. Too plain. Needs more sparkles, more jewelry, more flowers, more petals, more sparkle. Everything needs to have more sparkle. So I'm glad that she did went with a bit more dramatic design. It's interesting because the whole story starts with Heinz being taken by Apollo to the miniature garden, and he is almost like a non-existent character. He doesn't last very long, and his part doesn't last very long. The whole story is really about Ganymede and Apollo and the boredom of immortality by the gods, and how Ganymede, is this beautiful being to the point where and he exists for so long in this space of non-existence that it's almost as though Ganymede himself has become at one with the gods. And Zeus is an interesting character. There's Poseidon, but the conversation that Aki has and what Aki says at the end of the volumes about what was supposed to be the actual story, like Ganymede was supposed to be the bedfellow or the cupbearer of Zeus, and how she presents Zeus as this weird bird thing, and and that Zeus laughed because he made Ganymede, get a fright, and it was just. But you never see this, so even to us, Zeus is this sort of otherworldly presence, and Apollo, who's supposed to be the offspring of Zeus, also sees Zeus as otherworldly. Like Hades sees Zeus as otherworldly. Like Zeus is so far above them that he is sort of like a natural phenomenon rather than a being. It's really interesting. So yeah, I think Aki could just write the phone book and have pretty pictures, and I would still read it and be like, that was a work of art. And I've been talking about her for like 10 minutes already. Just this one volume. It's just, I love Aki so much. I love her. I need Arosemente next volumes. She has such a bad habit of never finishing things, and then she gets like commissioned to do the illustration work. So she's done a lot of illustration work, and so one of the new, is it Yen Press? Light novels, I think, that are getting published has Aki's artwork on the front. She's always being tasked with these, illustration jobs. And she's like, great, I'll take that. You're like, no, finish your own stories, woman. I need to know what happens next. And Arosemente is probably going to hurt me more than Angel's Doubt. And Angel's Doubt hurts. Like, it hurts. Because I have no idea what that story was all about. It was, the mystery was not even sort of like constructed yet for you to then be disappointed by the fact that you don't know how the mystery is solved. We didn't know what the mystery was even. Whereas Arosemente, like, I know. We've had like, what is it, 8? 9? Several volumes. I have them in Japanese. They're so beautiful. So yeah, Aki, pull your finger out, love. Get it done. But this is gorgeous. This is really... I'm so happy to have these two Aki works now. Yeah, The White Cat's Revenge. I will need to pick them up. Even though it's not Aki's storytelling, it's still her artwork, and I really love her artwork. Okay, so this is why I'm saying, like, I might just finish my 1330 here, because I've read so much now. I think I'm over the 30. And I just read Fens, and I went from sublime to sublime because Olympus was amazing. Fens, I knew I was going to enjoy it, and I loved it. This is just like, check please, all over. Damn you! Like, check please, Fence, and Heartstopper in 1 month. That is like peak. Peak. Graphic novels. Yes. Obviously there's no romance at this point in the mix, but this was good. It kind of has shades of most sports manga with all male cast, except for the teacher. This has all of these tropes, but done so well that you're like, yes. I like the art style. I didn't think I was going to, but it's very dynamic. It's easy to read. It's easy to see. You've got a great backgrounds for the characters. There's going to be some other things happening. Everything's set up to be really good. Everything's set up to be really good. There are, like I said before, 4 volume's out just now, and the 5th one I checked, I think it's in August or September. I think it's August, maybe. Maybe it's September. So yeah, the 5th volume will come out this year, later this year. So I need to get volume 4 now, immediately. This was good. The tournament was good. I enjoyed this section of like trying to get on the team. I liked the fact that, you know, I'm gonna make the comparison. Haikyuu, where the underdog, you know, meets the you know, prince of the sport, gets his ass handed to him, thank you very much, and then declares that they will be, you know, rivals. And of course they say, no, you're not even worth being a rival. And then of course it's like, right, I'm gonna get into this school so that I can beat that person, because they're going to the fancy school, but they're not going to the fancy school. They end up at the same school. So basically that is Haikyuu. That is the same plot. And I'm okay with that. I'm totally here for it. Yes, thank you. I'm happy with that. It's interesting because you also get to learn about fencing, which is kind of what Haikyuu did as well. You got to learn about volleyball. I don't think I would have found volleyball as entertaining and interesting watching it as a sport as I would have if I hadn't read and watched Haikyuu. It's like, yeah. So now I feel like if I do watch the Olympics and fencing's on, I can be like, oh, I understand. Which one is it? Oh, they're doing that? Okay. Oh, it's foil. Oh, you know where you can hit with foil. You can pretend that you actually understand what's going on. But yeah, this was interesting, it was exciting, it was good. There's a whole cast of characters and I loved them, and I liked at the back, the bits at the back where you get extra things about drawings, and also the gallery where they show other people's art versions of these characters. Oh, it's great. It's great. I've got nothing negative to say about it. I need to read more. So yeah, I'm enjoying this. So what I'm asking is, what else do I need to pick up? I know G put a little note on one of my videos saying, oh, if you like this, you should get X, Y, and Z. And I'd already started trying to collect Fence, and I'd heard of Check Please. I wanted to get it. There's a few others. So any other graphic novels with male romance that I should... And I do have to say, sports, male romance, they just go together. Like, two peas in a pod. Love it. Love it. Anyway, Fence is fantastic. Highly recommend. Give it a go. I will need to pick up volume 4 ASAP. I don't know, there are a few more days left of the month, so I can keep on reading more. I'll see if I get anything in the post. Fingers crossed, but if not, I'll do a quick wrap up. So the postman's just been, and I think I know what it is. So for, hopefully it's in a good condition. Here we go. Whee! Yay! So excited! So looks like it's in quite good nick. It's really good. So I think this is probably going to be my last read of my 1330. Today is... Today the 29th or is today the 30th? So, yeah, this will be my last read, I think. And I'll get to end both videos with a bit of Check Please. I'm excited! It's so good! I really enjoyed it, so I had to get it. And I get it from my European seller. So, very happy. So I just finished this. It is the 30th today. I wanted to take my time, so I've been reading this. I started it yesterday and I've just been taking my time, so it's quite late in the day now. I finally finished it because there is quite a lot. It's quite dense because it is supposed to be like two volumes worth, like 2 academic years, and there's a lot going on. I really did enjoy it. You get kind of just so much of the characters and their development and what's going on in their life and all the extra characters and their personalities, and yet it's also at the same time it's snapshots, so it's not so involving, and yet at the same time you're completely invested. And yes, I did cry a couple of times, just got to me a couple of moments, especially when it comes to, you know, coming out and how difficult it is for Bitty to do that, and the stress that they're under to keep the relationship a secret. But they're just so cute, Jack and Bitty being what they are, and their sort of ways of supporting each other. It's just super cute. I really enjoyed the drawings. I enjoyed this. It felt very nostalgic, I guess, which is weird because it's nostalgic for something that I've never experienced, but it has that sort of element to it. Just lovely all round. Makes me want to go and eat some pie. Yeah, there was a lot of really good moments. I don't want to spoil it, so I'm not going to say anything specific, but it was good. Everything, all the little loose ends got wrapped up. All the things that you wanted to be dealt with were dealt with. It felt good. It's a really good quality copy that I got, so I'm really happy about that. And it was published in 2020, and I'm like, oh, that's why I've seen it around so much, because I had thought this movie was a bit older. So yeah, thoroughly recommend Check Please. Definitely something that is kind of up my 2022 alley when it comes to what I've been reading and what I've been enjoying. A lot of NHL, ice hockey, male romances, so it's nice to read this, and it's nice to read it in graphic novel form. So like, once again, any other recommendations for graphic novels that you think I might want to read and check out, please give them to me, because I've been enjoying my month so far with my graphic novels. So this is everything so far for, well, what I'm reading for this month. I feel like I did a really good job with my 1330. There's quite a few rereads in here, but also quite a lot of my TBR that I wanted to get through. And yes, I did end up buying a couple of extra titles, but I'm glad that I got them read, because I do want to read what I buy this year more than previous years. So purchasing it and buying it and then getting it in my collection and reading it straight away, so it doesn't just languish on my TBR shelf for years, which some of these have as well. Also getting my buddy read done with Little Butterfly Omnibus. So I did a vlog for that. I'll put a link up in the corner. And I did have some digital reads as well. But I have to say, the graphic novels I read this month were great. I mean, it was Heartstopper, Fence, and Check Please. All like tick, tick, tick. They were all really good. So I should probably be like, this is also 12 and 12, because these were recommendations by Simply G, who said that if I wanted some graphic novel recommendations, to give me a list. So they're part of my 12 and 12, so they are to read 12 works that you are recommended by 12 mutuals across the year. So that was Heartstopper was a reread, but Fence and Check Please were new, and I love them. Sports and boys in love. What's not to love? What's not to love is boys love. I did not recommend that. That's trash. That's trash. It was terrible. But I'm still glad that I read it. So yeah, some really good titles, and I did end up reading over 30 volumes. Along with some digital as well. So yeah, it was a very successful 30 and 30. I'm really glad that Shae from Shae Geeks Out posted on her channel and suggested doing it. It was good to have something to focus on throughout this month. I had some really good news with my business the other day, so hopefully I'll make more progress with that as well. So yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed this video. It's probably very long as well. The last one was an hour long. So I hope you enjoyed, and if you read any of these, let me know what you thought of them, and if you have any recommendations for anything that I should check out, let me know as well. I'm 36581 and I make videos about BL, manga, yaoi, male romance and all this good stuff. And it was good. This was good stuff. Thanks for sticking to the end of the video. Take care everyone, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!